Welcome once again to the official Colorado Sports Hall of Fame podcast. I'm Tim Simmons, sitting in this week for David Platty, who's on assignment.
And I'm Jim Saccomano, and we're your co-hosts now with 100 years of experience working in Colorado sports. Myself with the Denver Broncos, and Tim with the CSU Pueblo Thunderwolves, the CSU Rams, the Denver Nuggets, and the CU Buffaloes, to name a few.
With the staging of the 61st annual dinner last night for the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame at the Hilton City Center in downtown Denver, 6 more individuals were inducted into the hall. We continue with our countdown to reveal the 150 significant moments in Colorado sports history as we celebrate the state's 150th birthday this August 1st.
The hall's main mission is to honor those individuals who merit recognition and distinction for their exploits, accomplishments, and leadership in sports and athletic endeavors in the state of Colorado. The 2026 class featured 6 inductees: Steve Foley, Wendy Koenig, Gigi Fernandez, Harry Hollins, Fat Lever, and Cordell Stewart, which will bring the total number in the Hall of Fame to 302 members, dating back to the first class in 1965.
Before we get started on revealing the next set of 5 memorable moments in Colorado sports history, let's take a moment to talk about memorable moments from the past Denver Bronco drafts as the National Football League stages its 91st annual event in Pittsburgh, starting next Thursday and running for 3 days. Jim, since you were involved in so many of those drafts starting in 1978, when you began your career with the Broncos, what are your fondest memories of the draft?
Tim, I've had a lot of them. We've had several drafts that gave us 1 or 2 really good players, but the top draft, in my opinion, remains in 73 before I joined the team in 78. The 73 Denver Broncos draft was a pivotal top 10 draft class for the franchise, providing key starters for the team's first ever winning season and future Orange Crush defense, headlined by running back Otis Armstrong, defensive end Barney Chavis, guard Paul Howard, linebacker Tom Jackson, defensive end John Grant, who was a terrific technician. The 1973 class had 10 players making the roster, which set the foundation for the Broncos' initial success. And of course, the guys could not just leave in 4 years with free agency at that time. So you really had a chance, if you got a really good draft, to build a team.
You're certainly right on that. And out of that class, Armstrong, Chavis, and Jackson made it into the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame. What about your time with the Broncos, Jim?
Well, the best draft in my time, I think, was 1985. Steve Sewell, number 1, Vance Johnson, 2nd, Simon Fletcher, 3rd. The late Kelly McGregor, also from CSU, and of course, who reached fame with the Colorado Rockies. It's interesting because if you took Sewell and Johnson and kind of flipped them, and Vance Johnson is your number 1 and Sewell is your number 2, that's a pivotal draft, a great draft. And in any case, those guys were a big part of our Super Bowl teams that did not win, but went to 3 times in the 1980s. The 2006 draft had Jay Cutler, Tony Scheffler, Brandon Marshall, Elvis Dumerville, and Chris Cooper, who's still coaching in the league. The worst, of course, was Ted Gregory's pick in 1988. Oh, I remember that one well, Tim. Gregory's selection was followed by the pick for the notorious Gerald Perry. That was a tough year. But the following year, 1989, we took Steve Atwater, Doug Weidel, and later in the draft, Melvin Bratton. We also took, a kind of a delicate story, Paul Green. Paul Green was a USC tight end, an 8th-round choice. He thought he was going to wind up maybe in the Bolin family, but that didn't work out for him, and Pat got him cut. It was all clean stuff, but Pat got him cut. We've done great with our number 1 picks over the years. It all started with the late 1977 Colorado Sports Hall of Famer Floyd Little, the 6th overall pick in the 1967 draft. That was by Lou Saban. And we cannot forget picking 2001 Colorado Sports Hall of Famer Carl Mecklenburg in the 13th round of the 1983 draft. I remember Meck, who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and is actually it's negative, the fact that he played 7 positions, all the up front positions, all at once, at one time and another time and so forth in the games, because they don't exactly know what to do with him. His statistics are great, but the Hall of Fame voters don't know exactly what to do with him because he switched positions so much.
But Jim, I saw him last night at the banquet, and just remember your comments about him in the past, and Mecklenburg, surprising where he got drafted and so forth. But thanks, Jim, for those memories and so forth. And obviously, we want to talk about our sponsors and so forth. So here's a word from our sponsors.
This is Mark Johnson, voice of the Colorado Buffaloes. As we count down the greatest moments in Colorado sports history, it's worth remembering that great sports moments don't just happen. They're built on preparation, resilience, and staying healthy. And in Colorado, a great sports moment can mean something different to everyone, from Hall of Fame athletes to anyone who simply wants to keep moving. Whether you're chasing championships, personal bests, or just a pain-free morning run, the team at CU Sports Medicine and Performance Center delivers exceptional sports medicine care, from prevention and recovery to performance. Founded right here in Boulder, the CU Sports Medicine and Performance Center brings together CU Medicine.
Now, on to the countdown.
Home and rooted in the community they serve.
We're going to stop. I wasn't done playing.
Oh, my fault. You want to redo it?
Let me think here.
Thanks, Jim. Now on to the countdown.
One of the greatest moments in Colorado sports history.
Bruce Ford, 1996 Colorado Sports Hall of Fame inductee from Kersey, Colorado, won his first of 5 world titles in rodeo bareback riding. This is a big sport in our state. He went on to capture the titles in 80, 82, 83, and 87. During his career, he shattered or tied every bareback riding record, all-time bareback earnings, most NFR bareback qualifications, 18, and tied for the most world bareback championship titles with 5. In 1982, he became the first cowboy to win more than $100,000 in a single event in 1 year and had over $1 million in career earnings.
One of the greatest moments in Colorado sports history. Number 79.
Well, I have 2 for March 29th, 1949. First, we'll start with the Regis Rangers, who won the inaugural National Catholic Invitational Basketball Tournament in its only appearance by defeating St. Francis of New York 51-47. Held in Denver, Regis defeated Iona, St. Francis of Pennsylvania, and Loyola of Maryland to reach the championship game. The team was coached by Larry Varnell, who was inducted into the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame in 1997, and Regis finished with a 34-3 record. And prior to the National Catholic tournament, they had finished second in the NAIA tournament and lost to Hamlin of Minnesota, who featured several great pros for the Lakers, Vern Mickelson, and a few, and so forth. Also on that date, the first NCAA championship in any sport was held in Colorado when CSU, then known as Colorado A&M, hosted the 19th NCAA Wrestling Championship in the South College Gymnasium in Fort Collins. Oklahoma A&M won its 16th title that year as the host Aggies, or CSU Rams, finished 10th. And CSU also hosted the event in 1952.
One of the greatest moments in Colorado sports history. Number 78.
The first Red Zinger Bicycle Classic, sponsored by Boulder's Celestial Seasonings and later the Coors Brewing Company in 1979, is run for the first time. The race attracted the top cyclists in the world. Three-time Olympians John Howard and Hannah North won the first men's and women's titles. In later years, Tour de France champions Greg LeMond, 81 and 85, and Bernard Hinault, 1986, won Coors men's titles. Connie Carpenter, 1995 Colorado Sports Hall of Fame inductee, a 1984 Olympic gold medalist, won three Zinger Coors crowns, 77, 81, and 82, with her husband, Davis Finney, 2006 Colorado Sports Hall of Fame inductee, winning the last men's title in 88 before the race went defunct. At its peak, it was the fourth largest race in the world.
One of the greatest moments in Colorado sports history, number 77.
On July 11th, 1949, was the grand opening of the Mile High Kennel Club, took place, officially bringing greyhound racing, dog racing, to the Denver metro area. Built on the property in Adams County, the grandstand seated over 3,800 people. That same year, the Rocky Mountain Kennel Club in Colorado Springs started on July 1st, and the Pueblo Kennel Club started on August 1st. And we're bringing the state, we also had two other ones in Cloverleaf and Loveland, and in Interstate and Byers east of Denver. Dog racing would cease in 2008 and eventually would be officially outlawed in the state of Colorado in 2014.
One of the greatest moments in Colorado sports history, number 76.
On September 9th, 1960, a 59-yard pass play from 1983 Colorado Sports Hall of Fame inductee Frank Tripucka to Al Carmichael and a 76-yard punt return by Gene Mingo gave the underdog Denver Broncos a 13-10 win over the Boston Patriots as the American Football League ushered in its initial season before 21,597 fans at Boston University Field. In the preseason, the Broncos had lost 43-6 to the Patriots. Thus, they were the underdogs in this opening game. Mingo, a 2014 Bronco Ring of Fame inductee, also became the first black place kicker in professional sports during this game.
Jim, I'm kind of wondering, I was 13 years old when the AFL started and all that stuff, and I think I remember watching the game and kind of excited about it. And do you have any thoughts about it?
Well, it wasn't on TV, Tim, so you might have heard on the radio, but it wasn't on television. But yeah, that was a very dramatic game, and actually, I featured it in a book of mine, Game of My Life. It was amazing, and Gene Mingo was told at halftime, Carmichael twisted something or whatever, so you got to return punts, and that was a big deal. It was a very, very big deal at that time. A black man given a significant role, and he said a few other black players came up to him and said, "Gene, you've got everything. You've it's all on your shoulders." Anyway, he returned it 76 yards for the first punt return TD, and it was great. That was an incredible moment in Broncos history. Incidentally, the Boston Patriots had a hard time finding a home until they came to Foxborough. They played at Boston University Field, and the Broncos played the Patriots 4 times in Fenway Park, home of the Red Sox. 4 times. The Boston Patriots played there for 4 years.
Well, Jim, thank you for that. And we hope everyone's enjoying our podcast. Thanks to our sponsors, Pasta J of Boulder, located at 10th and Pearl, just west of the Pearl Street Mall, CU Sports Medicine, and of course, my Colorado Collegiate Chronicle.
And Tim, you're very humble, but you do a fantastic job. I mean, fantastic on the Colorado Collegiate Chronicle. Everybody who's a fan in Colorado ought to read it. Anyway,
well, I appreciate that. And by the way, it's extend birthday wishes this weekend on April 19th to Mr. Dave Platty and so forth. And we hope he enjoys his assignment.
I hope so. And meanwhile, my wedding anniversary, my 56th year, is April 18th. Anyway, that's a wrap on our 25th podcast. Tune in next week as we have the continued reveal of the state's top 150 moments. We hope you are enjoying our reminiscence with our Colorado Sports Hall of Fame guests, as well as our trips down memory lane in the state's sports history.
Hey, Jim, I want to add one other thing. We're going to introduce today our producer, executive producer, the man behind the computer, Todd Sandstead. Todd, welcome to the broadcast. Why don't you give us a little details on how we got started on doing these podcasts?
Well, first of all, I think the podcasts have just been fantastic because all of the people that are involved, you, David, and Jim, just have such a great history with Colorado sports. You have been impactful on a lot of lives along the way, and you've just collected so many great stories that I'm thrilled that we're able to share that with the listening community. And I certainly want to lift up, Tim, and your efforts again, as Jim said, with the Collegiate Chronicle. It is a great read, and hopefully our listeners out there will be able to, go find that and look at some of the updates that Tim puts out. They are fantastic. And also, if you have a chance to find a book written by Jim Saccomano, they are great reads. I can tell you that personally. So, if you're going to your local bookstore or find something online, Jim's books are a terrific chronology of all things sports here in Colorado. But very glad we've been able to get the podcast together and support the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame. The dinner last night was fantastic. What an ensemble of many from around Colorado sports. And it was just a great event and a great evening. Good job, guys, as always, on the podcast, and we look forward to the next one.
Well,
Thank you,
one
Todd.
thing about the dinner I thought was great, and Jim could do it, is when Steve Foley kind of was talking about he was never, ever going to be a football player. And I thought, we found out things about those 6 individuals we never realized, and it was so special.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, everybody, thank you for listening, and we look forward to next week when we start the second half of the top 50.